Welcome back, my friends. It's good to see you. It's been about a week, and what a wild week it has been. So, I thought I would walk you through some of the main events that have happened this past week. I thought that'd be kind of fun to talk about, right? So, let's start last Sunday. Uh, there is this kind of church, as I've been reading a lot of these articles, I've found out it's kind of like a cult. It's called the Shincheonji Church, Church of Jesus, the Temple of the Tabernacle of Testimony. And this church on Sunday had more than 50% of all the confirmed cases of this virus. And as we move to Monday, right, the 24th, so many Koreans were so angry at this church that they signed an online petition to break apart this church. Over 550,000 people signed this online petition. And what I found out is if you get a petition with 200,000 signatures, the Blue House, which is essentially Korea's White House, has to make an official response. The main thing about this petition, what started it, is they claim that the church ordered all of its members to obstruct investigations and quarantine effects, essentially putting the whole country at risk. So this is what the main petition is, right? And the response was they have yet to find any illegal actions or breach of the law. They're still searching. Obviously, let's be honest, it's only been a handful of days since this happened. So, how fast can you really move and investigate things, right? So, let's move on to Tuesday, right? The 25th. This is real sad. This is where it kind of gets real. The head person in charge of national emergencies, especially for the coronavirus, he was found dead. Allegedly, CCTV shows reports of him jumping off a bridge in Seoul. That's real sad. It really puts into account like how much stress this is really causing some top officials. It's real sad. And that was midweek. I mean, especially it just started to grow. People were getting real angry, so I can't imagine the stress that poor man had to feel, and that family. My thoughts and prayers definitely go out to that family. So on February 26th, there's a report that goes out, and it shows that this church held multiple meetings in Wuhan around December. I think that's the early stages of the coronavirus. And some of its members had said many members left Wuhan around Lunar New Year. And to jog everyone's memory, especially mine, I had to do this. The outbreak really scaled up about a week and a half before Lunar New Year. So what this member essentially is saying is a lot of its church members left Wuhan, which is the epicenter, basically after it broke out. So this brings us to February 27th, Thursday of last week, and the president is facing and feeling a lot of heat right now. Early February, he was quoted to say, "This will disappear before too long." Korea had a few cases, but no new cases were popping up. However, as we see how everything is played out now, it's kind of getting out of control. So there is major backlash on this. This is important because in Korea, the election is April 15th. Many people say he did not respond fast enough by closing the borders to China. He kind of refused to close the borders to China because they're friends. They're very good trade partners. This is kind of funny because there's about 70 countries that have restricted travel from Korea, and I'm pretty sure China has closed its borders to Korea right now. So much for that friendly trade agreement, right? So this president is facing a lot of backlash for not closing the borders. Many experts have said that this is the end of his presidency, basically. April 15th, just around the corner. So we'll see how this plays out. Moving forward, February 28th, this is the first case where a patient had coronavirus, allegedly recovered, left the hospital, and was tested positive for it again. Now, this brings I think a fascinating thing is, how accurate are these tests? I've read a lot of reports, and I'm sure you have too, that some of these tests, like, they're not always 100% positive. Sometimes the swab is wrong. Sometimes, who knows? I'm not smart enough to know how this test is. All I know is this test is super expensive. From what I've heard, in Korea, if you get a test and you're positive, it's free. But if you get a test and it's false, you have to pay $200, basically, equivalent. But in America, I heard it's over $3,000. That's insane. Over the weekend, something came out. It's called #Korea Stop Lying. I can't find any reports. However, if you go to Twitter and just type in Korea Stop Lying, you will find this giant thread of Vietnamese people angry at Korea. The gist of this is a handful of Koreans went to Vietnam for vacation, and they were from Daegu. And Daegu is kind of like the epicenter of where this corona outbreak started. This is also kind of where that church that I had talked about before is based out of. And Vietnam wanted to quarantine them. Koreans said that the Vietnamese quarantine was like prison. They didn't feed them anything. It was terrible. However, the Vietnam side said higher than average stipend for food, free banh mi's, which, if you do not know what a banh mi is, it might be one of the most delicious sandwiches I've ever had. They're wonderful. Also, they had this wonderful kind of like rice, kind of spicy pork dish. I've seen pictures of it. Once you go on Twitter and type in Korea Stop Lying, you'll see the pictures too. I think they compare if you're in quarantine in Vietnam, this is the food you get, versus if you're in quarantine in Korea, and it's worlds of difference. So that's kind of what happened over the weekend. I also had to work on the weekend, so I fell behind, but that was the main thing. So #Korea Stop Lying. I think that was a big reason a lot of countries started to close their borders. You really can't have that type of publicity, especially in this day and age. I mean, it's going to get blasted on social media. I think another reason is, allegedly, and I can't find the report where I read this, but it was a news article saying where some of the Koreans, they escaped that quarantine in Vietnam and they just left. They hopped in a taxi and went on their vacation. So that's not really good publicity either. I don't blame many countries closing their borders at this time. All right, so backing up to the church, after a full week of investigation, the Blue House finally came out and is now investigating the church leader. And their investigation is to see if he is now responsible for all these deaths from the coronavirus. Like I had mentioned before, some of the petitioners claim that the church obstructed all the government agencies to try to quarantine and investigate this situation. And with the church leader obstructing this, is he responsible for what has happened to Korea now? So that's the latest news. There's a lot of reports that just broke out today because it's Monday now. It's been a wild week. We're going to see how this plays out. I'll try to do another update next week because I'm sure this week will be just as wild. In my personal experience, just seeing daily life, it's still moving pretty normal. I think the best thing I've ever seen is everyone is wearing a mask. We all know that masks are not going to stop the virus. However, I think wearing a mask is very helpful for hygiene. I think that's the main thing. You don't have people coughing in straight public. Yes, you can use your hands or you could use your elbow, but still, you're gonna spread it that way. But if you're coughing into a mask. If anything, it's helping with hygiene, and that is what's slowing things down. I've been telling everyone to wash their cell phone. Here, you use public transportation, you just mindlessly grab because the bus takes a sharp turn, slams on the brake, you gotta hold on to something, but then you go straight back to your smartphone. I was talking to a lot of friends about this, and I don't know if this will ever go away. This seems like it's just going to be another strain of the flu that we will have to worry about for the rest of our lives. I always think back to H1N1 back in those days. Woo! That was something, right? And that's still around, but we never hear about it. Part of me just thinks this coronavirus is here to stay, and now it's just another flu strain that we are going to have to live with. So some fun things that I've seen from Korea over the past week as well is there are these drive-through corona tests. You drive to this medical tent and it takes about 7 minutes to test. You just drive to this medical tent, they'll test you, and you'll get your results later. I think one thing though that could be improved, they are straight abusing the alert system on these cell phones. I swear I get like 20 alerts throughout the day, and it's slowly becoming a nuisance because it literally stops everything and makes this annoying noise. And yes, it's great for national emergencies, I get it, but not when you get 20 messages in one day. I think I got 6 in 1 hour. I will be honest, it's very nice because they will tell you the one person got it in this area of the city. He visited all these different stores, yada yada. But maybe, I'll be honest, maybe it's me. It's all in Korean, so I have no idea what it says. So I get 6 blaring messages and I can't even read it off a whim. I gotta like screenshot it, crop it, and then put it in a translator. So maybe that's just me. I want to say I know a handful of people that have turned off their alert system because it's so annoying. That's one thing I think could easily be fixed or improved upon. So that was this week's recap. Thanks for watching. It was a very interesting week, and I can only guess that this week is going to get more crazy just with how everything is going. Check out the links down below. All the articles will be there. I think I'll even put this corona map. You can it tracks all the patients. You can kind of see everything. It's kind of neat to look at. I'll be honest, I look at it time to time just to make sure I don't cross paths anywhere. But again, thanks for watching. And if you like this kind of stuff, let me know. This is kind of fun. So till next time, appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next week. See you in the next video.